Welcome. In this video, I'll be demonstrating how to register recipients with Eastside Baby Corner by creating household and contact records for them in the online ordering system. You can find written instructions for these steps along with some other material I'll be referencing in this demo in the provider ordering manual. So if you go to the EBC website, scroll all the way down to the bottom and click on the link to the provider page, you can find a copy of the manual here under Training Manual. The other resource I want to point out is the field order form. This is a form that you can print out and use to collect all of the information you're going to need from your clients that you're going to use when registering them in the system. And we don't need copies of these. These are just for your own use. So I'll go ahead and click on the provider login to log into the system. And here we are in the provider portal. Let's say I'm a provider serving a young mother who's requesting items for her daughter, and this is the first time I'll be placing an order for her with EBC. So before I can place the order, I need to register her in the system. And to do that, I will be creating one household record and one contact record for the final recipient, which is the little girl. To register her, I'll first create the household record for her by going to the Households tab and clicking on Create New Households. This opens a new blank household record. Items that have a red bar next to them are required fields. If I tried to save the record without filling them in, I'll get an error message prompting me to fill in any missing fields. The first thing I'll enter is the household name. And since this is the last name of the primary caregiver at her address, I'll use her mother's last name. If you need to keep household names anonymous, you can enter numbers or other identifiers in this field, as long as you keep a private list of the keys and use them consistently so that each unique household is tracked accurately. If you have other Smith households, you may want to add a number or some other indicator to differentiate between them. I'll enter her zip code. If she were homeless, I would use the zip code where she generally resides. And for income level, I'm going to select the household's percentage of average median income, which I can determine by using the guidelines in the back of the training manual. So here's what that looks like. These are taken from the HUD website, and there's a URL for that. King and Snohomish counties have the same values. We also have Kitsap and Pierce County, which is the same as Tacoma. So let's say she lives in King County and she makes about $20,000 a year. That would put her in the very low category. So I'm going to go ahead and select very low. For homeless status, I'm going to say no, she's not homeless. And her status is automatically active. If I were no longer serving anyone in this household, I could come in, edit this record, and change it to inactive. And when I'm finished, I'm going to click Save to save the record. If I were registering a whole list of households at the same time, I could click Save and New to save the current record and open a new one just to save some time. But since I'm only registering the one household, I'm going to click Save. And when you save the record, you'll automatically be taken to the records detail page. So here we are in the Smith household. If we needed to make changes to it, we could click Edit, enter any changes we needed, and click Save. Now that the household is registered, I can register the recipient. So from the household record, I'll scroll down to the household members and click the New Recipient button. And this opens a new blank contact record that's linked to that household. Again, items with a red bar next to them are required fields. You can jump from field to field with your cursor, or you can use the keyboard shortcuts Tab to go to the next, or Shift Tab to go to the previous. So I'm going to say the little girl's name is Jane. Again, these can be kept anonymous as long as you track them. Household name is automatically filled in with the household record that this contact is associated with, and your organization name is already filled in. This would be the organization that your provider account is associated with. For birth date, we're going to enter the birth month and year, and the system will automatically calculate her current age, so we won't need to go in and update that. For unborn babies, you would enter the expected due date and then just update it after they're born. We're going to enter the height in inches and weight in pounds. And these measurements are important to get accurate, especially for younger kids, because some of our items have height and weight restrictions on them, especially car seats. So you may want to bring a tape measure with you if you're going on a site visit. An unborn baby, you would use the average height and weight for a newborn, which is 9 inches and 8 pounds. Clothing sizes range from preemie all the way up to a size 14 children's size. And then the MAT stands for maternity. These are the maternity sizes for women. Shoe sizes are C for child sizes, Y for youth, or A for adult. So for a 6-year-old girl, I'm going to say she is a size 12C. And shoe width by default is medium. You can select narrow or wide, and we will try to accommodate those requests based on our inventory. If the recipient needs a half shoe size, you can indicate that in the comments field of your shoe order. And if the caregiver doesn't know the child's shoe size, you can take a foot measurement and use the shoe guide in the back of your user manual to determine the shoe size. Here we have children and youth sizes in inches or centimeters, and then the adult sizes are different, men's and women's. And here's the demographic information we're collecting. These reflect categories that our funding sources are interested in. All of this is kept confidential and used only in aggregate, and we don't give out information on specific recipients. They are required fields, but we understand that some people won't be comfortable answering these questions, so there's an unknown option for each of them. But any demographic information you can give us is always helpful. Race or ethnicity. If she fits into more than one of these categories, I would select multiracial. If what she identifies with isn't listed here, I could select other. Or if I don't know or she's not comfortable disclosing it, I could select unknown. Gender is female or male or unknown. Unborn babies could be unknown, and then you would just update it after they're born. For transgendered recipients, choose the gender that corresponds to their preferred clothing, keeping in mind that clothing and shoe sizes vary between the genders. So just make sure that those match up. Refugee or immigrant, I'll say no, she's not. If I'm not sure or if the client's uncomfortable disclosing her status, I could say unknown. For limited English proficiency, she speaks fluent English, so I'm going to say no, she does not have a limited proficiency. For very young children who aren't speaking yet, I would use the caregiver's English proficiency to determine this. Military service could be past or present. For women ordering maternity items for themselves, this would be herself or her partner. And for children, it would be their parents. Disability is determined by however your agency defines it. I'm going to say no, this client is not disabled. And when I'm finished, I need to save the record. If I were registering another recipient in the same household, I could click Save and New to save this record and open a new one that's linked to the same household. But since I'm just registering one recipient now, I'll click Save. And this takes us to this new contact record. So those are the basics of how registration works. In the next video, I'll demonstrate how to place an order. Thanks.